Well, we are going to get started. I'm really excited about today's webinar. It is super important. I don't care if you're a small school, business, big company. Video is the present. People say, "Oh, it's the future of social media," and well, we're in it right now. It's the present video. But sometimes video can be expensive and difficult, and how do we use it in our marketing mix? And so David Steiner, who is the director of paid ads here at Oozle Media, he's going to be talking about a lot of these things. He's going to be sharing data. He's going to be sharing client experiences and results and strategies. And so, as always, our goal on these Oozle Media webinars is to give as much good information as possible so that you can walk away and feel like you've gotten something out of our webinars of value that you can take back to your business, implement it right away, and see results from it, hopefully soon. We want to share just as much good information. So we're so happy that you're joining us. And just as a reminder, this is being recorded, and we're going to send out a recording to everybody so you can rewatch and show team members and anybody who registered and just didn't happen to make it. We will send the recording out. It will be on our website, fully transcribed, and the video replay. I would, before we turn it over to David Steiner, we want to thank our sponsor for this webinar, Beauty as a Business. So thank you, Beauty as a Business, for sponsoring this webinar. And as a sponsor, they are on this webinar going to be giving away free social media marketing curriculum seats to one lucky winner or school that they'll be able to use these free seats for your next class that is starting. We've done this. They've done this a couple times in the past where they've given away. I think it was like the last giveaway was 25 seats. That's how many they had starting in their next class. And so we want to thank Beauty as a Business for sponsoring that. If you want to learn more about Beauty as a Business, just go to beautyasabusiness.com. They provide social media marketing curriculum for beauty schools that their students can watch and take quizzes and do worksheets and activities so that they can be better prepared for when they graduate on how to build their brand and build their book of business. So at the end, we will be announcing who that lucky winner is. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to David Steiner to wax eloquently about video ads.
Yeah, we'll see how eloquently we wax here. So yeah, welcome everybody. Thank you for your time. Let me just pull up my presentation here. This hopefully will just take one moment. Here we go. And then I'll share my screen. I've got to share it with audio because I'm going to be playing a couple of videos. Let's see. This one here. Hopefully this looks right when I share it. Okay. We'll go full screen here. All right, hopefully, does that look all right? Can you see that yet? Okay, hopefully that looks fine. So yeah, sorry. First things first, a little intro about myself. My name is Dave Steiner. I'm the director of the paid ads team here at Oozle. I've been here for a few years now, and we do a lot of search advertising. So that's kind of maybe the lens that we're looking at, or we're approaching this with originally, but we've done a lot of video work lately as well, and it's only getting better. So I'm excited to talk about that. I've got here a picture of my family, just because one, I think my new kid is super cute. He's like almost 3 months old now. And two, to sort of quasi introduce you to my wife here in the photo. And the reason I do that is when we talk about video ads, there's sort of two sides to that coin. The one side is like the technical aspect of of your strategy and your bids and your placements and your targeting and all of that stuff, your audiences. And the other side is the creative side of the video production, right? So shooting and editing and directing your video. Well, I kind of bring up my wife because that's what she does for a living. She's a videographer. And so I've sort of been exposed to both sides of that coin, so to speak. So at Oozle, obviously we do the more technical stuff, and then I see my wife working. I've kind of been with her to shoots and see how she directs and edits, commercials for what she does. So hopefully that gives me a little bit extra insight that I can provide today. That's helpful for you and your goals and what you're trying to do. So yeah, that's just a little bit of background on me. Like I said, what we're going to talk about today is a number of things, but I'd kind of like to just lay them out so you kind of know where we're going with this. First off, why video is important to your ad strategy. Next off, where it fits into that overall plan. How video can drive not only future leads, but how it can generate leads in the short term. And then how video has gotten easier to create over time. And then at the very end, I've got a little kind of nugget maybe for a potential video that you can run. Oh, someone's telling me that my slides aren't moving. Which slide might you be seeing now? Just if you could put in the chat what you're seeing. Might be a delay. Just the intro slide. Okay, this might make it a little tricky. What about now? Can you see, what are you seeing now? So let me go back and show you. This is hard to manage with the chat as well. Chris, are you in the chat there? Where's the slide with the cute baby? Okay, so it looks like I'm gonna have to present this without my notes. So hopefully that's all right. If you can see my cute little family and the cute baby, hopefully that's what you can see right now. I'm gonna have to get a confirmation from Chris here in just a second if we're on the right slides. So then this, like I just said, this is what we're gonna go through today. Just a quick rundown. So let's talk about why video is important first. So I'm going to talk primarily about YouTube today, just because that's kind of to keep it simple. But a lot of the things that we're going to talk about as far as video creation goes is going to be applicable elsewhere. But speaking of YouTube, they've boasted 2 billion monthly logged in users on their platform, right? Which is a ton. Similarly, Facebook, I think, talks about having 2.8 billion monthly logged in users. The difference would be, though, that on YouTube, people are going specifically to watch video, whereas on Facebook, you're going maybe for a myriad of different purposes, and video might be one of them. But on YouTube specifically, that's a lot of users. And of those users, Google has said that they spend on average about 1.7 hours per day on YouTube. So if you think about it, that is a massive, massive audience. There's a lot of potential there for a lot of reach, a lot of opportunity to get your brand name out there, to get people to understand, what you're doing, what your business is. And it's become fairly ubiquitous. I mean, people are viewing video content all of the time and everywhere on all kinds of devices and in all kinds of situations. So it's become a huge, huge market that if you're not taking advantage of, you really need to consider doing. It's in the past, video has been kind of hard, I think, for people to get into. It's been maybe reserved for businesses who have a lot of money that they can spend on branding. But that's not the case anymore. We're going to talk a little bit about why. So another thing about YouTube in particular is that it's kind of built in a way it's really a social media platform at the end of the day. People share their content that they create. You can comment and share and do all this sort of normal things that you can do on a social media platform, which means that people use YouTube in sort of more of a communal way, right? People will watch videos based on certain subjects or topics or whatever. And whatever you can imagine existing on YouTube, it exists, and it probably goes deeper than you might imagine. One of the things that I sort of talk about a lot is last summer, and so summer of 2020, we were sort of relatively newish homeowners, and it became my quarantine hobby to try to take care of my lawn. So I found a bunch of lawn care YouTubers whose their entire channel was dedicated to how to take care of your lawn. And like I was mentioning, it's sort of a social media network too, because a lot of them end up talking to each other and having sort of videos with each other, doing giveaways for each other, and they build sort of a community around these other creators that are just dedicated to this one thing. And again, that goes for whatever. I've talked to my brother who's found the same thing with dog training videos, or a neighbor who said they were really into squirrel feeders. So it's, again, whatever you can think of exists on YouTube. And it, like I said, probably goes further than you might have imagined. Another important part about YouTube is that people go there to discover new products. And I can attest to this one in particular, because like I mentioned recently, we've got a new baby, and with the baby, they don't always tell you about all the accessories that you have to buy for your baby, but strollers, car seats, and bassinets, and all that. And the stroller that we purchased and used, we did because of the content that we found on YouTube. This is a channel that I just would kind of shout out. This guy's whole channel is dedicated to reviewing baby gear. And so the stroller we chose, we did so because we saw videos about it where it was being compared to other similar strollers. And it ultimately helped us decide, what we wanted to purchase. So I stand behind this metric as well. Okay, so now we've talked about why video is so important and how it's so ubiquitous. Let's talk a little bit about where it fits into your strategy. So this is a roadmap that we have found works really well for our clients at Oozle. So it's a staircase. Basically, you start at the left and you go up the steps towards the right. And I'll say right off the bat, the very first step is just search campaigns. So if you are not already running branded search keywords and high intent search keywords for whatever it is your business is offering, you need to do that first. That's going to be the lowest hanging fruit, the best ROI. That's what's going to get you started and moving forward. But assuming that you're already doing that, every step after that along the way of this roadmap includes YouTube. So whether that's still sort of at the bottom of the funnel where you're just retargeting people who've already been to your website, you can do that on YouTube. If you're trying to find people who maybe do know about your brand but aren't, maybe they're still in the consideration phase, they're kind of shopping around, you can reach them on YouTube. Or if you're going all the way to the top and you're just trying to push brand awareness to the broadest possible audience, that can also be easily achieved on YouTube. So to recap, or the short answer, where does video fit into your strategy? Basically everywhere. Everywhere except for maybe the very first step. So it's a super, super key element to have as part of your ad strategy. Okay, so what do video ads do? They do a lot of things, but I think you can sort of boil this down into two categories. And the first is that they can drive future leads. So they can keep your pipeline moving down the road for the future, but they can also generate leads in the short term or right now. And we're going to talk about a couple different ways that they do that. So first, when it comes to driving future leads, this is more about showing up for people before they've searched for you, right? That's kind of the advantage to YouTube over search ads, because you don't have to wait for someone to type out the search. You can build demographics and audiences based on other things, find people who are in market for what it is that you're offering and show up to them first. All right, so I've got a little video that I think is a really good example of what this looks like. I want to play for you, but this is generally what these ads look like, right? They're informative, they've got your brand, and they're educating people, but the purpose isn't necessarily to generate a lead right now. It's just to sort of build your future pipeline. And so I'll just play this one because I think this ad is great. Hopefully you can hear this.
Not gonna lie, Jake from State Farm. That Daniel deal got me some sweet savings on my insurance.
Daniel, State Farm offers surprisingly great rates to everyone.
Sure you do. Tell you what, I'm not supposed to do this, but I'll let you try the chunk, honey.
Oh, I'm good. Here's the deal. Great rates, kinda our thing.
You wanna meet the queen?
I'm not dressed for that. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Cool. Hopefully you could hear that. That ad does a lot of really good things that we're going to talk about in a little bit, but you can see that it's pretty general. It's not necessarily driving a strong call to action, but it's just saying like, we're State Farm, we provide great rates. Come to us when you need great rates. That being said, you can see that these ads will have, if you're viewing it on the platform, it will have buttons next to them that say, learn more or whatever that allows the viewer to click on the ad and to convert if they want to, even though that's not maybe the primary function of this particular ad. It's still there, right? It's a lot more like traditional TV, just with a few extra added benefits in terms of targeting and then action that you can take on it. Okay, so oops, I don't want to play that.
Not gonna lie.
Okay, so the other thing that ads can do that I mentioned, video ads can do, is to generate leads in the short term or right now for your business. And this is primarily done through the audiences that you use. So if you think about like a typical search campaign, somebody might search the keyword that you're bidding on, but you may or may not show up in that auction. You might not show up for the search result, and that's just the way it goes. We just know that that's kind of the way that it is on Google. But say you do show up and somebody may or may not click on your ad. They might click on yours, they might click on someone else's or scroll down the page and do something else. That's just how it works. But let's say they do click on your ad and they go to your website. We know that not everybody who ends up on your website or your landing page turns into a lead, right? We know that there's a huge portion of those people or that market that is lost in, like when you're talking about search, because they just don't take action on the things that you're hoping they do. Does that mean that they're not the right audience for you? No, they're exactly the audience that you still need to be targeting, because they're still looking for the things that you're offering and they're still shopping around and considering, where to go exactly to meet their needs. So video can supplement your search campaign in that way by creating audiences based off of the people who've searched for the same keywords you're bidding on, or seen your ad or clicked on your ad and just maybe not turned into a lead. It gives you another opportunity to show up for them and get them to see your brand again and to visit your site again and ultimately become a lead. So one of the ways you can think about this, just sort of to put it into a story, say you're a beauty school and someone is online, they're researching the school that they want to go to. So they type in, a search query, beauty schools near me, and they see your ad among a few others, but maybe they click on a different one and they're doing some research and they're going around and they don't make a decision right away. They're still kind of thinking about it, but they're sort of checked out for the day and they're done doing their research and they want to move on. So they pull up Adele's newest music video and they want to watch a music video to kind of chill out. But before the music video plays, an ad pops up, right? Well, this is the perfect opportunity for that ad to be yours, because they've already identified themselves as someone who's interested in what you offer. And now they can see that when it's relevant to them and it's pertinent to them. And then they can click on your ad and take action, right there, or it's just another touch point for them to be more familiar with with your brand. And ultimately we know that people convert on brands that they're more familiar with. So getting more opportunities to be in front of them is always a good thing. So this is kind of what those ads look like. They look, pretty similar to the other ads that we looked at already, although you can see that they've got a larger area here with the button, kind of a stronger call to action. So the content for these should be a little bit different, because you are speaking to an audience that's more ready to convert and take an action. So you can include things in these videos like testimonials or start dates. And then your call to action should be something really strong, like, don't wait, get started today, or contact us today, or whatever that might be. So this is kind of how YouTube ads in particular can help generate leads in the short term and bring in leads, now to your business. Okay, so we've talked about why video is important, where it fits in your strategy, and how it can generate leads for you in both the long and short term. We're going to kind of transition it now a little bit into the more creative aspect of making a video. But I want to start this by asking a question. And I wanted to do this in the chat. Okay, now I think I can switch back and forth between the two. So I want you to put in the chat, if you can, the answer to this first question. How many of you would feel comfortable getting on camera for your business? And you can just put me or not me in the chat, and I'll try to see if I can Okay, we've got, Leanne says me. Okay, good. Good, that's good that most people are so far willing to be on camera. I personally, I would say not me usually, but here I am doing it. Sometimes that's what it calls for. Yeah, not very comfortable with it. I feel you 100%. So, okay, think about this then. If you did say not me, or if maybe you didn't put it in the chat, but you were thinking not me, consider, this is a more rhetorical question. Would you do it if you thought it would help generate more leads for your business? Right. So think about that for a minute, and we're going to come back to kind of how that ties in. But I think that's an important thing to think about. Okay, so I want to talk now a bit about how video is becoming more affordable and easier to create. So I think that there is no longer a need for high-end production on your video content all the time anymore. So it used to be that you had to get a whole production crew in with lots of cameras and lots of lights and hair and makeup and all that. I don't think that that's the case. I think especially over the last couple of years, people have started to crave more personal connection. And I think people prefer raw and real over the sort of more perfect and polished video content than you can get. And I think that's backed up a little bit by Google in something that they said in a recent webinar, is that people don't want to hear from brands anymore. They want to hear from other people. And so this is why I asked the question I did in the last slide. If you can show up as a person from your business, then it feels more like you're hearing from a person and not so much from the brand. If we think about the State Farm ad we watched a bit ago, I think that's a really good example, because Jake from State Farm is now the face of all the advertising from State Farm, and it feels really personal. Not to mention that's kind of the narrative of all their commercials, right? Is they got the Daniel deal and the Parker promo and the different specials that everyone thinks is super personal for them. But ultimately, yes, people do want to see you being personal and authentic, and that's good news because that makes it a lot easier to create video. You don't have to hire talent. You don't have to do anything like that. Another way that video has become easier to create and more affordable is that mobile devices have become super, super powerful tools to create and watch content from. So you may have noticed that everybody is pretty much used to viewing the world through the lens of their phone. Whether that means they're just looking at the videos on their phone all the time, or they're watching videos that people have made from their phone. That's just the way that people expect to see things now. And it's allowing brands now to create content with more readily accessible equipment like a phone. So this is another ad that we've run for one of our clients where it was shot on a camera, and I'll just play this here for you so you can see it. It's pretty short, I think. Oh, let's go back and see if I can get that to play. There we go.
During my time in school, I have to say that Innovate has really prepared me for my career as a barber. Starting on the very first week that I joined, I was given all the tools that I would need to better understand the barber industry. On top of all those tools given, you are given the absolute best teachers. They take your time with everything that you need to work on. You don't ever feel pressured. You don't ever feel like, oh, you're not doing so well. They're always there to guide you through every step.
Okay, so I'll pause that one there because I think you more or less get the idea. This one I think is brilliant. It's a real connection with a real person who went to the school. They're filming it on their own phone. It doesn't take a lot of intensive equipment or dedicated effort. And it's easy to connect with because this person is being authentic and it feels personal and real. One pro tip though for this, you may have noticed that they filmed it vertically on their phone and they're trying to fit it into a horizontal video format. If you can, just remember to film things horizontally. Obviously, different platforms will allow for vertical video, and if you're going to shoot something that's specific to maybe Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, then consider doing it that way. But on YouTube in particular, the vast majority of the content is filmed in a traditional aspect ratio. So just flip your phone sideways and do it that way. It'll feel out of place less often that way than it will if you film it vertically. So just a little pro tip for you there. Here's another example. Hopefully I can get this into play for you of an ad that we've run for ourselves. We had a beauty summit last year, which I think we're going to be doing again this year. This was an ad that we ran for it, which was just a screen recording of a webinar presentation. So I'll play you this one as well, just for a second.
So long as you're looking to grow your business, grow your school, get more enrollments, understanding what the next 12 months could look like for you when it comes to digital marketing is really, really important. And I know a lot of people think, well, I don't have enough of a budget to work with an agency, or I don't have enough budget for this, that, the other thing. And it's not always about budget. Sometimes it's about time. But by and large, I like to tell people it's really about time and money, emphasis on and.
So you can see that this was a really simple, we didn't even, it was just a screen grab of the webinar presentation that we worked into a video ad, and it's worked pretty well for us. So again, just another example of why it doesn't require a lot of high-end production to run your video ads. I think that's a huge barrier that people think that they need to overcome in order to run video ads. But I'm here to tell you that that's not true. You can do it, and you can get creative and do it in other ways that are a lot more accessible and a lot more affordable.
So long as you're looking to grow your business, grow your
Let's
school.
go to the next. There we go. Okay, so another way that video creation has become a little bit more affordable is that there are plenty of video builders that you can use for free. The YouTube's video builder, I think, used to be accessible to more people. Now it's, I think, moving over into the Google Ads platform itself, although I haven't seen it there yet. So that one may or may not be available anymore, but promo is another option. There's a free version and a paid version. It's a quick way to make, short, lightweight videos. And then there's also Canva. Oh, the video for that doesn't exist. Sorry about that. Canva is one that we use a lot. It's another software that you can use. There's a free version and a paid version. You build templates and can create videos with efficiency, right? I kind of want to mention something about templates too. I think people are maybe afraid of them sometimes, but you don't need to be afraid to use them. You can find one that works for your brand. There's a lot of variability within the same template, and if you've got a template in place, you can build a workflow that's really easy to adapt and update for all your new videos, but keeps the same sort of feel and the same consistency across all your videos, not to mention creates efficiency for whoever it is that's building those videos. So I could play some of these. I probably won't play both of them, but let me just show you a clip of this one. This is one that we've built with. So I won't play you more of that one, but you can see that the video itself looks like it could have been filmed on a phone or something easy. And then there was even some stock photos and things in there that you can work in. It's not difficult to use a template and get a video that can be effective and run on YouTube. So I have to go through these. There we go. Another couple options that you have, if you want to take that route, is to use an agency, right? This is another way that videos become pretty affordable. Oozle, for example, could send someone to your location and have a couple of days of shooting where they collect a bunch of footage from your business, and then over time send or deliver final edited videos for you to use. Or the other way is to maybe pay, if you want to pay for a higher end video, you can get a longer form video. But the good thing about that is that you can reuse it over and over again, right? You can cut it up into different pieces and use different pieces for different things. So you could use testimonials out of a long form video to send to one audience. You can cut out really short 6-second clips for what they call bumper ads, and you can send that out for brand awareness. And you can really kind of get a lot of mileage out of one video if you decide to go that route to pay for one. So those are just a couple different options, other ways that you can affordably create video assets for you to run as ads. So now I want to talk about a couple things. If you are going to film your own video, these are sort of elements that Google has come up with. They call it the ABCDs of running a video ad. And we're going to go through just really quickly kind of what these are and what they mean for your video and how to use them. So the A stands for attract, It means try to attract the attention right off the bat, right? Use people or some kind of memorable imagery to grab attention. If you do use people, make sure that you can see their expressions, something that people can connect with to attract somebody's attention. The B stands for brand. So try to introduce your brand within the first 5 seconds, whether that's somebody saying it out loud or whether it's like in the State Farm ad we watched at the beginning, it had that little audio chime and had the brand right up front. C is for connect. So you want to make sure to connect with people through their emotions. Make them feel like they could be the person in the video. They could be the subject of the video and it would apply to them. And then lastly, D is for direct. And this is, a reminder to use a really specific call to action, direct the viewer to take some sort of action or do something. And I think I mentioned earlier, things like start dates, classes start soon, or, don't wait or hesitate or whatever, that sort of thing. And then the other thing you want to keep in mind is that mobile devices are very, very ubiquitous, as I've mentioned. That's where a lot of people are viewing their ads, right? So keep that in mind when you're creating an ad. And there are a couple of things to think of when you're doing that. So keep it fast. You want to keep the pace quick on your video ads. If you can use a lot of shots in a short amount of time, that's going to keep people's attention more. Because people are viewing it on their mobile device, they're going to be sometimes outside, or they're going to have low batteries with dim screens. And so if you keep your content bright, you keep the colors bright and the contrasts bright in your videos that you make, that will just stand out that much more for people on their mobile devices. The next one is to keep it tight. This basically means the difference between like a tight shot and a wide shot. So if the subject in your video is really far away and you can't see their face, it's going to be harder for the viewer to connect with that, especially if it's on a small screen like a mobile device. So make sure if you're putting a person in your video, you can see. My rule of thumb is like keep their eyes visible, because that's what people connect with. And then same thing goes with any font or text that you put on your ads. Make sure it's big. This is kind of a 2 birds with 1 stone kind of thing, because if you have bigger text, you can't fit as much on there. And typically we found that that's better. Just short, punchy, big text on your ads is kind of what works well. So all of that goes to say that it's, when people are viewing this on their mobile devices, those are the things that are going to help your ad be more engaging and easier to consume. Okay, so for my last little thing, this was sort of an idea I had. I think that if you want an idea for an ad to run for your school, I think this would be an easy one to put together. That would get a lot of good results. It's something you could do, within a few days and it would be done. So during the last couple of years, I think a lot of people have gotten used to doing like virtual tours or virtual meetings for their businesses or for their campuses if you're a school. And so I think that one really good way to do this would be to turn a virtual tour into a short video, right? And again, like you could do this on your phone. You could just get in front of the phone and say, hi, I'm Dave. Welcome to our school. Let me show you around. This is what our classroom looks like. This is what our teachers look like. Come visit us. We hope to see you soon and talk more. Right. I know that a lot of people want potential students, for example, to come to their business and be in person so you can talk to them. And I don't think that this takes anything away from that. In fact, I think if anything, this will give them sort of an extra peek into why they would want to come to your school and take a tour. But again, it would be something super simple to put together. You could shoot it yourself, just selfie style, cut it down to 30 seconds or so and run that as a YouTube ad. And I think that would be really effective. So just to recap, video is ubiquitous. Everyone is watching video everywhere all the time. Video can be used to drive future leads and build your pipeline. It can also be used to generate leads now. It doesn't have to be expensive. And then don't forget your ABCDs of video creation. So that's it for now from me. If you have any questions, I have a few minutes to answer them. If you got any, put them in the chat and I can try to get to them here if any come in. Ooh, we got two right off the bat that are the same, almost verbatim. Where would you recommend starting on budget, or what would you start with budget? That's a good question. That's something I didn't really talk about. so I mentioned before, it used to be maybe more for businesses who had a lot of money to throw at their branding, but that's not the case anymore. Google will recommend that you spend a lot of money on YouTube, but that's because they want you to spend a lot of money on their platform. I think a good rule of thumb is to whatever you're spending on search, maybe take like 20 to 30% of that and dedicate it to video would be a good place to be. If you've got really small budgets and you don't have a lot to work with, kind of the way that I would work backwards is one of the ways that you can bid on video basically is you pay for 1,000 impressions. And that's, I think, around $5 on average. So if you say you want to have 1,000 impressions per day, you take $5 per day, you extrapolate that out to a month, that would be maybe your minimum budget that I would say is allowable. If you got smaller budgets and that's kind of, you're constrained by that, that's maybe where I would suggest as like the lowest threshold to start with. And what other ads should companies be doing first? So if I'm understanding this correctly, it's what sort of ads should you focus on first? What should be the first thing that you want to run as a video ad? I think, so if I went all the way back to the beginning of my slides, we had that staircase sort of. I think the first thing that you're going to want to do is a video that is targeted to your remarketing audience. So there's a couple of ways to do that. I think solving people's concerns or addressing people's concerns in your videos, common concerns that they might have about your business or about, trying to go to school or whatever it is, addressing those in a short video, whether that's 15 seconds or 30 seconds, and then making sure that your brand is in it, running that to your remarketing audience would be a really good way to go, because that audience, has already been involved with your brand. They've already been to your website. You've got them in that group. And so you want to make sure that you're capturing those leads or those potential leads while they're still warm and while they've shown recent interest. That would be, I think, my first suggestion. Cool. Any other questions? I don't see any others in the chat. If you've got any more, let me know. Otherwise, feel free to email me. That's my email here, or give us a call. If you've got a contact at Oozle already, give them a call. They know where to find me. We can talk about it. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you all for your time.
All right, everybody. Hey, give it up for Steiner in the chat. A lot of good content, a lot of good stuff.